afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the City of Deer Beach Board of Commissioners Special Workshop Meeting. Today is Tuesday, June 14th, and the time is 5:02 p.m. Would the city clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Palladino?
Here.
Vice Mayor Poe? Oh, excuse me, Vice Mayor Shantz? Commissioner Lister?
Here.
Commissioner Hodges?
Here.
Commissioner Poe?
And just to let the commissioners know, Commissioner Poe called. One of her dogs is very sick, and she does not believe she's going to make it this afternoon to the 5 p.m. meeting. Mr. City Manager, would you like to proceed with the first topic?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you all for coming in early. The reason for the 5 o'clock meeting is obviously we have a hectic and well-attended 6 p.m. meeting, and so I wanted to be able to conduct business while people are filing in to get a seat for the 6 o'clock meeting, so I appreciate you coming in early. Item number one, Doug Andrews, my rec director, and his staff, including Jay Hatch, is in the audience today. We've discussed this as a staff a number of times over the year or two that Doug has been on staff, and I've become more entrenched with the idea that this is a good idea, and especially since Johns Pass Village Association is willing to pay for half of it. So what this would do is remove the island in the Johns Pass parking lot, which is a relatively sizable lot. And the reason to do that is that would allow for a couple of things. One being you would be able to have a stage out there and have, you know, some sort of concert or festival or whatever you'd like. It would be a lot easier for Seafood Fest and all the festivals that they have. But then secondly, and this is an idea or a brainstorm of Mr. Andrews, is that in the wintertime, there is such a thing as renting an ice rink, and we could be one of the few cities in Florida probably that would allow ice rinking or ice skating to have ice skating available in the winter months. But the island would need to be removed, and it is such of an issue for the Johns Pass Village Association that they're willing to pay for half of it. The budget is approximately $18,000, and Vince, feel free to step on me when I say something incorrectly, which would put our obligation at about $9,000. And if you remember at last month's meetings, we received a couple of donations of which staff would recommend we would use $9,000 of that money, which would certainly put us money ahead still in order to remove this park, the island. The reason why this is before you today is Johns Pass Village Association is interested in forking up 50% of it if we can get the job done prior to Seafood Fest, and that would make things a lot easier for them down there. So with that, I think I probably took out 90% of Doug's commentary, but if you have any questions, Doug's in charge of this. He's the point man on this from my perspective, and he can answer any of your questions.
Yeah, he said everything.
Mr. Andrews, just a quick question. That's
Absolutely.
going to take away any parking, correct?
I'm sorry?
That was Mr. City Manager, there's no parking?
No parking. There's no effect on parking at all. And we're going to do it after Labor Day in September when it's our slow time of the year, so.
Excuse me, Doug?
Yes.
Need to ask, a little confused, where is this on? Is that where the pavilion is?
No, it's on Village Boulevard, so it would be right directly in back of the VFW. So it would be that one lot there, so it'd just be the median that runs through that lot.
Okay, I was thinking of another area. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a better way to describe it. It's not an island. It's the median that you drive around in the major parking lot in Johns Pass. If we eliminate that, we'll just, and Dave's here, we would just have parking stops, I believe, that would have infrastructure to be removable for concerts and the ice rink and so on and so forth. So it just gives us a lot of flexibility to use that lot for more than just parking, especially during festival events.
Okay. Exactly.
Yeah. There wouldn't be anything interrupting what they're trying to do over there. And, you know, you guys already know the stats on this. It was, Seafood Festival was the #1 festival in Pinellas County by Visit St. Pete Clearwater. I think they estimated there was 145,000 people there last year. And they're looking to make it the biggest and the largest seafood festival in the country, and that would have to accommodate about 200,000 people. What this would do, that open area would allow us for a bigger stage to get bigger name acts to attract more people. So that's kind of the goal. And the ice rink is, and I'm certainly not taking credit for it, my staff came up with this idea. I think a winter in, kind of a winter festival in Johns Pass with an ice rink would be just awesome. I think it would be a really a cool, and good for the merchants down there too, because that's a really tough time of year for them down there. So running it from November until early January, we could make a little money with it, but they would partner with us on the ice rink. So I think this is just a great idea.
Wonderful idea,
Thank you.
wonderful.
Any further questions from the commission?
So,
What is your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, if we can get a thumbs up today, or right now, I mean, there's a budget amendment on the 6 o'clock agenda that would handle this, and we would have to get people chalked up to do the work and get going on it pretty quick, because, I mean, July is around the corner, and we'd have to do this work in either late August or September.
Yeah, right after Labor Day.
Right after Labor Day?
So David would be ready for
Seafood Festival.
Seafood Festival? Okay. And Doug, those were pretty correct numbers on the Seafood Festival. Also, they received $65,000 of bed tax dollars last year. And I know tomorrow we'll be doing elite funding, and I think they're going after $100,000 of bed tax dollars. So hopefully,
Mayor, I hate to do it to you, but they can't hear you at home. You got to speak into your mic, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Like I said, they are going after $100,000 tomorrow, and I think the last thing on that is, I think there was the 3rd largest seafood festival in the United States
Yep.
this year, and shooting to be the largest in the United States.
Absolutely.
Absolutely correct. Commission, what's your pleasure?
Yes, it's a wonderful idea.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Thank you, Mr. Andrews.
You're welcome.
Good luck Thursday night.
Thank you.
If you'd like to proceed, Mr. City Manager.
Yeah, in fact, instead of me taking Doug's thunder on this one, this is Doug's, Mr. Andrews' brainchild, and I think it has a lot of credence and a lot of value that it can bring to us, especially since with what we've done with the city center. So with that, and not to talk on top of Mr. Andrews, I'd just like to give him the floor, Mr. Mayor, if it'd be the will of the commission.
You did such a good job last time, man. Good. Okay, I'll get in. That idea is cool. This idea might even be better. The growth that we've experienced with what you guys were able to provide for us here has just been amazing. I mean, we have 98 kids this summer at summer camp. I think last year we started with like 26. We've done about almost $50,000 in rentals here since we opened I think we opened in February. So, our leagues are flourishing. But I think one of the greatest things that we did is building this youth baseball program, baseball and softball program with the little Madeira Beach shirts running around. I know Mr. Mayor had the opportunity of being out there for their closing ceremonies, and it was pretty awesome. They've also had one of their teams, and this league just formed 6 months ago. One of their 12 and under boys teams just won the district championships, and they're going on to the state final or the state championships now. And like I said, not bad for a league that just filled up 6 months ago. What this is, with the amount of activity that we're having, this is great. But the problem is, we almost don't have enough room now. So the great work that we did out here, we kind of need some more room. We've reached a tentative agreement with the fundamental school to have the ability to utilize their fields right now. The only thing really in exchange for that is for us utilizing it, we've been asked to maintain them. And we have been maintaining them up to this point. I think it's a really good civic thing that we do, taking care of our school. Don't have all the numbers yet, but one of the things that we needed out there to turn those into, they're not going to be the elite fields that we have out here, but we can certainly make them a lot better. Those kids are running around on weeds and everything else, and the main reason why is there's absolutely no water out there. So what we're going to do, what the plan is while we are digging, there's a main line, is that what we'd call?
54 or 50s.
Yes, that's going across from basically the marina over across into the school. So we're digging up some of the school field as it is. So we're going to be working with the guys that are digging the school now, and we're going to try to put in an irrigation system over there at the school. And like I said, a lot of these things that we're doing now, we're finding partners for. So the Madeira Beach Youth Baseball and Softball Association is kicking in money to help us fund this project as well. So once we get water over there, we'll be able to create some really good fields over there so that when we're having an event like this weekend, like the Bone, where the kids can't use the fields to play baseball, we've got another field for them to use. So again, I don't have all the numbers on this yet. I know, Vince, we have some money set aside for this already, right? Okay, so that's about all I have.
I think, Mr. Mayor, and for the commissioners, the reason why I put this before you tonight is, Mr. Andrews hit it right on the head. It's a tad premature, but because of that line and because of the construction and because we're gonna have to snap when they wanna snap, I just wanted to get it in front of you. We'll have to hold a special meeting probably to establish the budget. Vince has got some dollars budgeted for this. but we don't know exactly what we're talking about. We have a ballpark figure. Obviously, we're not talking about tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're talking about irrigating a couple of ball fields. But I think what happens is with those contractors mobilized and there already, we'll get a deal on that, and we can work with them to put this in. So I just wanted to get it in front of you. I'm completely support Doug and Dave and what they want to do. You know, Dave's kind of managing the idea of, you know, watching what the county is doing. Doug's job is to get water on those fields and make nice with the school, which he has done a good job with. But this is you're going to see this again. But I just wanted to get it in front of you so you understand what we're thinking about doing.
Are you able to get reclaimed water down there?
No,
We have to have a well.
we gotta have a well.
We've used those fields several times in the past years. We actually put the lights up over there, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
We put lights up over there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we also, just 2 years ago, redid the lights, so.
Yeah. So what's the configuration? Are we having one field and one open field, one soccer field?
Yeah, you know what, Commissioner Lister, we haven't gotten that far yet. We're gonna get with the school, and they wanna be a part of this, but we were just actually over there today, and they're so on board with this because, you know, honestly, they look ratty, if I can use that word. They want them cleaned up, and they really can't go into their budget, and we've dealt with the superintendents over there and everything else, and they're like, okay, well, if you guys want to take them over, and they have the same agreement with the Clearwater does all the school fields over there, and with the ability to be able to utilize them when they need them for events. So it's a little bit of a beautification deal, and it's also kind of make it nice with them, and now they're giving us a whole storage shed to use to bring equipment over there so that we can maintain these things and make them look good. But we'll utilize them. So, but the idea is, yes, probably going to be 2 ball diamonds and some area for soccer still. We still want to run our soccer program over there as well.
So is the existing lighting gonna work, or are we gonna have to add lighting? Because the lighting was a ton of money.
The existing lighting right now is going to be fine. I guess it really would depend on the new field configuration if we're going to have to move some lights around, but there's plenty of light out there. Plenty of light.
And Mr. State Manager, I might ask you this, because I know that we're going to go ahead and be working for the state to get appropriations on lighting. Would this be something that if we got those appropriations, be able to use that besides the 2 other
I'm gonna add
projects
it
that
to
we're
the
looking at?
project, so there's a lot of state money in the next budget for lighting purposes, especially when it comes to athletics, and so we're gonna, our lights are refurbished, but from 1950, whenever they were installed. Same issue probably over there, maybe a little newer, Dave, right? We rehab them, but, yeah, any upgrade in lighting, certainly won't hit the tax rolls, so to speak. We'll be hoping that the state would help us out with that project, and so that's the idea there.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Andrews, you probably already kind of answered the question. I know that Clearwater is working and St. Pete is working on the National Soccer League, having spring training games and spring training practice. Would we be able to use those fields where maybe we could get a little revenue from using those fields?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I think,
And
yeah.
Speaking to Kevin Smith with the CBB on that. All right, Commissioner, what's your pleasure?
Let's do it.
It's good.
Yes.
All right.
Once it solidifies, then, Mr. Mayor and the commission will bring back a solid budget figure for you if we can't make it work within the existing budget.
Okay. And item number 3, I'm sure you got good news for that. Thank you, Mr. Andrews, Mr. City Manager.
Dave, step on me, or Mr. Marscano, step on me when you need to. Mr. Mayor, it was your idea, and I think you witnessed it in either Indian Rocks Beach or in Indian Shores, of bollard lighting at their crosswalks, and bollard lighting being, you know, knee-high or waist-high lighting so that the pedestrian is lit, especially at night while they're crossing the street. Wherever that was witnessed, that was actually county road and not state road. Down here in Madera Beach, it's all state road, and so when we informed them that we were interested in doing the exact same thing up in Madera Beach as they did in Indian Rocks, they said, well, that's the county, and the county approved that. We look at bollards as a missile at the point of impact, and so they have basically poo-pooed, if you will, the
Denied our permit.
denied our permit, denied what, what we're gonna do is install exactly what was up in Indian Rocks Beach or whatever north of us, and then, I guess suggested a different type of bollard, which frankly, from a budgetary stance, doesn't make any sense, Mr. Mayor. And I know your intentions were good, and at the budget figure that we were speaking of, made all the sense in the world. At the budget figure that FDOT is pointing at us, I would like to rest on the lighting that's already out there. And so the money that we transferred would just sit in the Gulf Boulevard Fund. hopefully not to be used. And segueing into another topic, which is related but not on the agenda, is the undergrounding has been probably the most strenuous task Mr. Marsicano and I have had to tackle since 2012, and it's not progressing. We're finding problems with the contracting, with the engineering, and the actual mechanics or semantics of actually burying the utility. So it's becoming very problematic, and it's going to be very difficult. And I see this project not being successful, but being challenging. And I think we have to circle the airport and come back and revisit that one. If you remember, we were going to borrow $3 million in this next budget or the following budget to finish the project from north to south. And I'm not comfortable with that. I spoke with Vince while we were putting the budget together over the week, and it's gonna be my recommendation that we don't borrow that $3 million to finish the project and revisit the idea of just burying the east-west wires and having nice ornate lights and poles going north and south with wires on them, and expend that county money, but not expend any further dollars, just because the mechanics of burying this utility in Madeira Beach is proving very, very problematic. So, related but not related, number one is the bollard lighting is just not gonna happen. I think Vince, we transferred about $40,000 if my recollection serves me. That'll just sit in the Gulf Boulevard Fund, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. And Dave and I are meeting with Duke Energy and our engineer this week. And either we will progress with that engineer or we'll terminate service with that engineer and then come back to you. That's a contract that I signed. I worked with the city attorney on that contract, but I haven't severed it yet. We're gonna meet with them this week and see what's happening, but it's becoming, it doesn't look good. And so we have to revisit the entire project.
All right, then, Mr. City Manager and Dave Marsicano, when y'all speak to Duke Energy, something that would help out is when you're looking at the layout of the light poles, if we could get the light poles a little closer to the crosswalks. I know there's a distance by state law where they have to be, and they're within it, but if you got them a little closer, it would light up the crosswalks a little better. So if we could work with Duke Energy on that, that would be appreciated.
I think between Duke and the engineering firm, we can definitely do that. The problem, not to beleaguer this, but we have a little bit of time. The starting point, literally the starting point on the north end of town has proven to be the hardest part, because either it needs to go 3 residences into Reddington, or we have to, 2 people within Madeira Beach have to suffer and have utility in front of their, residence. And so, I mean, it's cursed from the beginning. I can't tell you how frustrating it's been. And, we told you we were gonna have the north end of town buried by, I think, February, and we can't get anybody moving. Mr. Marsicano was out on site on Saturday. They just kind of show up when they please, and they do a little bit of work, and then they go home. Mother Nature hasn't, exactly cooperated as well, but this is a very problematic project, and I would hate to throw, we have county money associated, and I don't think I can't think, Vince and I had this conversation the other day, let's call it $3 million. What would we do with that $3 million outside of burying it along Gulf Boulevard, because you have to do something on Gulf Boulevard? The problem is that do we want to throw another $3 to $4 to $5 million against a project that we know is going to be problematic and take years to get done and then still be an issue? I think we just have to revisit it before we decide to jump into the deep end of the pool, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners.
Okay, do you want to report back at next time?
Oh, you're going to hear about it. Yeah. Like I said, either we're going to switch engineers or we have to completely revamp the scope of work. Either way, I have the authority to terminate the engineer and move on, but we definitely need to bring the scope of work back to you guys so you know what's going on.
All right, thank you. Is there any further questions for the city manager? Is there anything else, Mr. City Manager, before I proceed to close?
For this meeting, Mr. Mayor.
All right, seeing no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 5:20.